Hello, Kidney Warriors. James here from Dadvice TV, your online kidney health coach. And this is another episode of Dadvice TV Live. Now, for those of you who are new, go ahead and introduce yourself and let everyone know that you're new. We have a great community here of kidney warriors that are very positive and very supportive. And positivity is a big part of living a great quality of life with kidney disease. So if you're feeling down or you have some questions, you feel alone, ask. We can support each other, help each other. Somebody has been through the challenges you're going through, and it's great to know others and how they got through it. Now tonight, boy, we've got ourselves a recipe. This is going to be another cooking demo, and we are going to be using products from Flavis. You guys might remember Flavis. We had them on, maybe a month or so ago, month and a half ago. We had Megan. She's back tonight. Flavis is an Italian company that makes kidney-friendly products that are low protein, low sodium, low phosphorus, low potassium, tons of great things that you can get from Flavis. And we're going to be using their bread mix because there's a lot of different uses for their products. And we're going to make some delicious pancakes with maple syrup that should be able to fit into practically all kidney patients' diet. All right, now let's go ahead and let's introduce our guest so we can get right into the recipe and this delicious stuff. Welcome back to Dadvice TV, Megan. Hey, Megan, how you doing?
Hi, everyone. I'm doing well.
It is awesome. Go ahead and tell people about your background, a little bit about what you do with Flavis.
Yeah, so my name's Megan Donnelly. I'm a registered dietitian and I work for Dr. Schär, which makes Flavous foods. So the Flavous foods are low in protein, sodium, potassium, and phosphorus, as James mentioned. Personally, I've been with the company for about 2 years now, and I really feel so strongly that the best way to support the kidney population is to support things like this. So we're so happy to share our resources and our all of our recipes and all kinds of good stuff. And right now I'm in New York City, which is very snowy, so it's a little cold. That's why I'm all not in my office today. It was a snow day. So,
Yeah, we've got some snow here in Cincinnati. Luckily, we only got about a quarter to a half an inch here, and the sun came out today. I haven't been outside.
yeah.
My watch, I don't think it's gotten barely over 30 today, but I see grass, which is great.
Oh, you do. So we're no way. I was walking into my apartment building from the store and my whole leg went in a snowbank. So
Oh,
that's where we're at.
well, we're expecting snow on Christmas, so next week,
Oh,
which will be great. My kids are hoping for a white Christmas. We get deer here in our yard, and we have a nice big giant salt lick for them out in the front yard, and they're hoping to see lots of deer tracks in the morning on Christmas.
oh.
Because my kids are still small enough. They're looking for Santa.
Love it.
Now, we had someone who already asked, hey, they said, James, where can I find Flavis products?
Oh,
All right, guys, let me share the link to it. We'll put it right up here. Boom. So if you go to go.dadvicetv.com/food, it'll take you to Flavis's website with all the product listings. And if you guys want to buy anything, and I'm not trying to push buy the products, but of course, it's great to support companies like Flavis who make kidney-friendly products. If you use the coupon code DADVICE, you will save $10. There's no minimum purchase. You can use it as many times as you want. If you buy stuff today and then 2 weeks later, you're like, you know what? I want to get some more. You can go use that code again. We've had a lot of people for the last time who have bought their products and loved them. I have gone through boxes of them, and I was just telling Megan earlier, I wish I still had some more of those little snacks, those fruit snacks. Those were the best. First of all, I loved them, but they were my best travel snack. I could put them in the car, and they're all individually wrapped. And if I was a little bit hungry, I could open it up and eat one of those, and they tasted delicious. Plus, I love all the pasta products. I've gone through all of them that I have.
yeah. I know that, it's really great. They're great tools to help support you in this diet journey. I mean, there's so many complexities to the diet, and it's so nice to have products that you just don't have to worry. You know that they're good for what your needs are. So,
Yep. So let's talk about. So today we're going to be making pancakes with maple
hmm
syrup, and we're not using a pancake mix. The main product that we're going to be using, I got to hold it so the lights don't reflect on it, is the Flavous bread mix. And it's interesting. I love how there's so many different ways to use the product. So if you get the different pastas, you just make up different sauces and stuff, and you can have different meals, still using the same base pastas. And this is great. It's got instructions on how to make bread, but I did not realize you could use this to make pancakes.
yes. So it's called bread mix, but it's really just flour. We call it bread mix because there's a yeast packet in there in case you
Hmm.
want to make bread. But yeah, it works really well for flour, and there's a lot of recipes on our website with we focus more on baking because in Italy they make a lot of bread, but we
Oh.
don't necessarily do that here ourselves. So yeah, I think you play around with it. I've used it in a lot of different recipes myself. I've made cookies with it. I've
Mhm.
made rolls. Actually did make this pancake recipe. So yeah, there's a lot of good
Well,
stuff you can do. And if you make anything, you should share it
very
on
good.
Facebook and tag us because we definitely haven't come up with every recipe that is out there. So
Yeah, and to let everyone know, I've been chit-chatting with everyone over at Flavis. We have, I don't know, probably a dozen or so, maybe even more than that, recipes that we're going to be making videos going forward to show you guys different things to make. So you get lots of different options for kidney-friendly meals. And I am asked all the time, message forums, people reach out, Facebook, James, what do you eat for breakfast? Well, I don't eat breakfast, so it makes it hard for me to answer them because I practice intermittent fasting. So my first meal is 10 a.m., 11 a.m. And then I try to eat my last bite, if possible, or when possible, by 6 p.m. And then just from 6 p.m. till the next day, I just drink some water and, I try to avoid food. It's helping me a little bit in managing my weight. I got to get out there. I got to start exercising. Is my wife watching? No, she's not. I ordered a treadmill for the holidays. So she wanted a treadmill. I'm like, oh, you want a treadmill? Yeah, I'll get you a treadmill.
a
I
gift
can
for her
use
and
it.
you.
Yeah. And now with the Apple Fitness Plus program, I've been doing some of it here at the house. It is awesome. So now we can turn our treadmill into like a super duper deluxe Peloton, or however that
Yeah.
expensive one is pronounced. And it's even better because it takes the Apple Watch and gets all I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give it away to my wife what she's
Yeah, no,
getting.
I got an email about that and I didn't really know how it was, so I'm
Mm.
gonna have to check it out.
Yes, I was able to get some early access to it and was using it. It was great. And now that it's out there in the public and I can talk about it, oh, for kidney warriors, guys, there are so many. I know we're getting ready to talk about breakfast and eating, but that Fitness Plus, there is a free trial right now. There are so many things. You can do cardio, you can do treadmill, you can do biking, you can do just like dancing type things. There's so many programs it does. And it will, like if you're watching on the Apple TV or on your phone or your tablet, it'll say, hey, I see, it sees my watch, my wife's watch, and asks who's exercising. I pick me, and then I just confirm it on my watch. And then all of my vitals are right up there on the screen on top of everything as I'm exercising and doing stuff. And it really helps with coaching and motivating. So I cannot
Yeah.
wait to have it on a treadmill. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. And I always tell people I work with, any movement is good. So don't think just because, you're not a runner or you're not into weightlifting that, you can't be doing a healthy exercise. I think any movement is good if you like walking, if you like dancing, all those
Hmm.
things are great. And even if you can only do a little bit, that's still great.
Yep. And you guys know my favorite stuff is I love the dancing. I love the singing. You know, if I'm out walking, I'm listening to some great country music. I've got Dolly Parton, I've got Randy Travis, things like that, or some really good motivational music. And then when I'm here at home, my go-to exercise thing, what is it, guys? You guys know it. I'm going to give them a few seconds. There's about a 20-second delay between what I say
Oh,
and then being able to type. You watch it. They're going to know what I do at home. It mixes dancing and singing because I'm an awful singer. I am so bad, but I make up for it in volume
oh,
and
nice.
quantity.
I'm sure everyone loves that.
Like that. Back in the day when I traveled a lot and I would go someplace at work, we're always hitting the karaoke bars. And I am so bad, but I've got the moves, I've got the energy, I've got the dedication. I know my voice is bad, but I just go with it. And I haven't seen
That's
anybody
half the
answer.
battle.
Darn it. I was hoping someone would get, there we go. Boom. Someone got it. Richard Simmons, Dancing to the Oldies, the original. I've got all the songs, all the moves down.
There's a few I see people know.
Yeah, you see them on your side.
Yeah.
They know it. Because, for me, it's great. I'm inside, I'm moving, and it doesn't hurt. It's easy to do. I've got bad knees. I've got bad ankles. I'm getting older. Things
Yeah.
are cracking and popping a lot. And it's easy to do. All right. Let's jump on into our recipe because I think we've teased everyone plenty enough.
Yes.
So let me get it up here. There we go. And I'm going to turn down the music from it. Do, 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 do. So we are making pancakes with maple syrup. And this says it's a very easy recipe. And I'll tell you guys, this is easy. And I love that we're going to walk step by step. And it should take about 15 minutes to make 2 servings using the instructions on here.
Yeah. So yeah, talking the ingredients right away, I think, the great thing about a recipe like this is we kind of make it for just, 1 or 2 people. So you don't have to make a large amount, but not a lot of ingredients here. I will say, this does not have to be all you add. You can add fruit right into the pancakes. That's a great thing to do, especially if you want it to be a little bit sweeter. You add a little blueberries. I think, there's a lot of options here. And we top it with maple syrup, but you definitely don't have to do that. You can use jam. You can use like a homemade fruit jam, which would be great.
Oh,
So yeah, there's a
yeah.
lot of options here. I think, pancakes, we give you the most basic recipe, but you can always customize, add your own flavorings. I like to add cinnamon to mine, so keep that in mind.
Oh, yeah. Cinnamon, and it's an anti-inflammatory. So my
Hmm.
pancakes,
Yeah.
my go-to is blueberries. I absolutely love blueberries on a pancake. Um, I kind of miss the old days when I could eat whatever I wanted. And I loved IHOP going there, especially when they had that all-you-can-eat pancakes. When they saw me coming, they're like, uh-oh. Can we close? Close, close. I could put away tons of pancakes. I loved all their syrups. And I would, I loved getting a bunch of them, taking them home, adding some strawberries, some bananas, some blueberries. Oh, I've got very fond memories of
Hmm.
pancakes. Now in here, we do have a little bit of sugar. So I know those that
Hmm.
are diabetic, that'll be one of the first things their eyes will go to. But this is only 7 grams of sugar for 2 servings.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
not
So
too much.
it's not, and a teaspoon. Think about how little that is. And if you're really, really concerned about your sugar intake and you really would rather sub something out, um, there's a few other options. I think I like to go for the more natural, non-nutritive sweeteners. So something like a monk fruit or a stevia or even coconut sugar. If you really want to try that, it gives you a little coconut flavor. I think that's kind of nice actually in a pancake. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, there's always options. You could also choose to remove it, which would be fine. It's just keep in mind you might want to add some fruit in that case to make it a little sweeter or, just keep in mind that will make a difference in the taste, but you can remove it if you want to.
Yeah, and for me, you know, when I first saw this recipe, I was like, oh, sugar. But then I thought, oh, it's only 7 grams. That's not that much. Yeah. And what I would probably do is increase my fiber to compensate for the sugar.
You can do that as well. And you can do that with, you know, a fruit, any plant-based food, just fiber. So I think that's a great idea.
My go-to is I'd have an apple next to this.
Yep.
And I'd be eating it either before or afterwards.
Yeah, and something, you know, I haven't tried it in this recipe specifically, but some of my friends who are dietitians like to add a tablespoon of flax seeds, ground flax seeds. And
Ooh.
the reason for that is that they're good for omega-3s, which are healthy fatty acids. They're good for immunity and your heart health. And then they also add fiber. So that's another option, and it's pretty tasteless. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, flax seeds and chia seeds are 2 things my wife thinks are magical. She adds them to everything. She loves
Your
them.
wife is right.
Yeah, they don't add flavor. They don't change the flavor, and it gives you the benefit of fiber and all those other things.
Yeah.
All right, so now let's go ahead and how to make these. Oh, and first of all, whoever's pot this is that you guys used in this recording, I love that pattern.
I know.
It looks like a magnifying glass. It has like an optical illusion to it.
I know, and it's such a cute pattern. I love it too.
Yep. So we're going to use a small pot. Whoops, hold on. Accidentally clicked the wrong button. Here we go, putting it back on there.
Yeah, so we're melting the butter here. I don't melt butter that way. I put it in the microwave, but this works too.
Yeah. Now, is there anything we could use besides butter for those that like to have minimal animal protein?
Absolutely. So I will say my personal favorite is a little coconut oil. I think it's a good flavor profile for a recipe like this. You could also use a vegetable-based oil. Um, you want to use something with a mild flavor. So that's usually you're just plain canola oil, which a lot of people think canola oil isn't healthy. I will say, you know, in the small amounts that we're using, it's really going to be fine. It's a plant-based oil. You just want to make sure you're looking at something that's really from plants. So
Yeah.
just check the labels to make sure. But that's what I would, coconut oil first would be my first choice.
All right. So we're going to pretty much melt the butter and then set it aside. 2 bowls and 1 egg. So we're going to separate the egg whites from the yolk. I've gotten very good at doing that.
Yeah. It's a skill.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at it myself.
For some reason, I started doing it when I first got diagnosed. So we're taking the yolk, we kind of beat it, and then we're adding in our melted butter.
Yep.
Which is now kind of cooled down to room temperature.
Yep, and you're adding your milk. Now, a lot of people are probably going to say, well, milk is dairy and that's going to have a lot of protein in it. And milk does have some protein in it, but, you know, think about you're using all other low protein ingredients. And so really it's just to help kind of bind it. I know that a lot of people don't like to use dairy, so you can totally use almond milk or whatever other milk alternative. It's really just about making it creamy. So you should be fine if you sub the milk.
And then Natalie's asking for this part, are we using, was that a pot or a skillet?
Oh, so that was the hot plate. So they put and then the butter was melted in a little pot. It was just a ceramic pot, but you can use a regular one.
And we are going to use a skillet later on when we actually
Eventually,
make the pancakes.
Yeah.
All right, so we're setting aside our egg whites that we separated. And now we've got our Flavous bread mix, the flour and a little bit of yeast.
Yep.
And then we're going to mix that up with a fork or a whisk.
I don't know why they use the tiniest little bowl to do that. It's really, you have to be careful.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I love this step-by-step walking through it. This is how I learned to cook. I can't read a recipe and do this. I need to see it. Like, oh, okay. But I'll tell you, when I watched this earlier, I was like, I don't have anything that small. Wouldn't it be easier to have something bigger?
It totally would be easier.
So now we're going to add that in there with our milk and our egg yolk and the butter. Now this is where you got to resist that more power, and you got to be gentle, not to get it all over the place. I've learned that. I bought a hand mixer on Amazon thinking, oh, I can mix up everything really fast. Sometimes slower is the better way to go, because you put that thing on too high, it's just flinging all over the place, making a mess. Yeah, I'm still learning. So we've got that all mixed up. We're going to set it aside. There, that's similar to what I have.
Yes, I love that tool. It works great for me. So yeah, egg whites, a lot of people don't know once you mix them a lot, they get really like frothy and creamy. I didn't know that till I took a cooking class once. I never, stirred them for this long.
Isn't this how you make the top for lemon meringue pie?
Yes, it is. Yeah. And so this is where you add the sugar. And again, if you'd rather use something else, like an alternative sweetener, I would say stick to the natural ones. Stevia and monk fruit, I really think would be preferred over something like a sweet and lower.
Mm-hmm. So now we have our very, very creamy and slightly sweet egg whites all fluffed up. And then we've got our other mixture here.
Mm-hmm. And I see someone's asking about the yeast. So the yeast packet is actually in the box. So you don't need to buy yeast separately, because I know that can be like a weird thing to find in the grocery store. So it's covered.
It's funny. I know they carry it at Costco, but it's not a small package.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we give little packets. So it's nice. And it gets kind of like thick, which is what you want because you need them to hold up.
Yep. And then here again, a little bit of butter. Now we're using a skillet. Yep. This I recognize. This looks very similar to some of my cookware.
Yeah. And I also just, you can also use sprays for here. Like there's, the baking sprays that would work fine here, especially for this part, not for the other part, but for this part. Yeah. And then, you got your little pancakes.
And when the bubbles start to form, you flip them. See, I never knew when to flip them.
Oh, yes. You got to wait for the bubbles.
And mine never ended up, and I haven't made this yet, but now that I've seen how to do it, mine never stayed round because I think I did it too early. So they smeared and they were all different shapes.
Yeah, your pan has to be hot enough. Otherwise, they will run. So, and then, nice little holiday. It looks like a holiday dish.
Yeah.
And then, and I think with the maple syrup, here's the thing. It is, a source of sugar, but if you're careful with how much you put on, I think a lot of people don't realize that you don't need as much. So just carefully drizzle on. I think we have it portioned out in the recipe. I believe we say 3, I have to check.
Yeah, here I
but
can jump
it's
right
3
to the
tablespoons.
beginning.
Yeah, 3 tablespoons.
3 tablespoons.
And so I would say try measuring it out and see if that's enough for you. Because I think what tends to happen, we get that jar, we pour it, and you end up having more than you need. So
yeah, I get very heavy-handed, except when it is real maple syrup. Then as I'm pouring it, all I hear is cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. That's enough. I got to make this bottle last. But I love real maple syrup. Oh. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, there's nothing like it. I'm from New England. We love our real maple syrup. We don't like to mess around with that fake stuff.
Yeah. And then, after, creating this, I'm going to get back there to that picture right there. Oh, that looks so good. You could throw on your, some blueberries, some strawberries, maybe a little bit of sliced banana. And for those of you that are new, you may be thinking, oh, banana has potassium. Our bodies need potassium. What we don't need is too much. Portion control is that secret to how you can enjoy eating again while sticking to your renal diet. Some foods, you just got to eat less of them and eat it less often. but you can still find a way to make them fit into your diet.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, something to keep in mind when you're eating potassium from something like a banana. A
Hmm.
banana is more than just potassium, right? It has carbohydrates, it has fiber. And so when you eat a banana, you're not absorbing all of that potassium in the same way. So potassium can be added to a lot of foods. Like it's an additive like in processed foods a lot of times. That potassium is very different than the potassium in a banana. So if you're eating something like a banana, that fiber is helping you absorb less of it actually. So you want to consume a super high fiber diet because that's going to pull the potassium out and you can enjoy it or not worry as much about how much potassium is in a food if you're focusing on, whole foods
Yep.
that
And the
are
natural
coming from plants.
sources.
Yeah,
Same thing
natural
with
sources.
phosphorus. If it's an
Absolutely.
additive, you're absorbing it, nearly 100%, if not
hmm
100%. Where if it's natural, you're not absorbing it at that rate. Plus, you usually have it in something that has some fiber and things that
Yeah.
benefit you.
Yeah.
Joyce has a great question here, and I think Joyce, the answer is yes, but let's find out. Can this be used in a waffle maker to make waffles?
I would love to try that. So my thought initially is that the batter is going to be a little bit thick for a waffle maker, so I would just add more liquid so that it can spread in that waffle maker, but I don't see why it can't be.
Yeah. Now, do we know what the potassium is in this
Y-
recipe?
In this recipe, yes, I have it pulled up for you. It is 81 milligrams.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah, really
That
low.
is, yeah. Because I'm sitting here. I'm looking at the bread mix. I got the box here, guys.
hmm
0 grams of fat, 0 grams of saturated fat, cholesterol 0, sodium 5 milligrams. That's nothing. That's
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
feel
and
like that's
it's
how much is in a breath of air. Um, there's no added sugar, and no protein.
yeah. So, and I will say this product it's a flour, so it's not as high in fiber as some of our other products. And so I think, what we talked about before of adding fiber to your meal or to the recipe always a good idea. So flax seeds, my first recommendation. Chia seeds work well too. Just keep in mind that might change the texture a little bit of a pancake. And then, consuming it with a high fiber food like a fruit, like an apple, is great.
Yep. And Gloria says tiny Asian baby bananas are low potassium, and it may just be because of the smaller size.
Interesting. Gloria, where do you find those? I'm gonna look for them. I've never
Yeah,
had a
let's
tiny
find
Asian
out.
baby
So back when
banana.
I was in Seattle, we had a great store called Wajimaya, which is an Asian market. There's several of those stores, and I could find everything there. As a matter of fact, I worked directly across the street from one, and they have an
Wow.
amazing lunch court. So I could go there and get so much authentic Asian food. Oh, I miss Wajimaya. Now that I'm here in
Yeah,
Cincinnati, we
that
don't have
sounds
anything
great.
like it.
Yeah, that sounds, I wish I want to be there. I love
Yeah,
Asian food.
yeah. Hopefully,
Asian inspired cuisine is so good.
we'll see what Gloria says in just a moment here. And let's see, does anybody have any other questions out there about this? And as you guys saw, this was super simple, and we didn't even use very much of this bread mix
hmm
to make two
Yeah.
servings. And this box is heavy. It has a lot. Does it say how much it
Yes.
is? Oh, it's over a
So
pound. No wonder it's such a heavy box.
yeah, and you're only using 2 ounces for this recipe. So that's really, I mean, that box is going to get you a long way.
Yeah, and Joyce is
Every,
asking, can I share the label? Go ahead and talk, and I'm going to try to show it on the
oh, yeah.
camera. All right, I got to
Yeah.
make myself bigger so she can at least see it. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. Oh, wait, I got to unmute you. I accidentally muted you.
Okay. Well, can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you now. There you
Okay.
go, Joyce. Look at that.
Yeah. So this our packaging has a lot of info on it, but one of the reasons is that the it's we want to show you how to make the basic bread. So that's on there. And just also keep in mind we classify our foods as medical foods, and there's a message on there about using with a doctor's supervision. That's just to remind you that, we are making these for people with special needs, and so if you're working with a doctor, it's always good to share with them any new products you're trying and stuff. It's not to scare you though, and certainly people who are not kidney patients can consume these products. They're safe for everyone. Sometimes that medical food label it makes people nervous, but don't worry, safe for everyone.
Yeah, and then my mom asked, looks like you can make an occasional gravy with this flour. Have you ever done that?
No, but that's a great idea. I'm gonna
Yeah.
ask our recipe developers to look at that. That's great.
So
Um,
Joyce says she couldn't see it. Hey, Joyce, I will take a photo of this and I will post it in the Dadvice TV Facebook group so you guys
yeah,
can
and
see
we
that
also
on there.
on our website we have a picture of it as well.
Oh, awesome. And there's the link.
Hmm.
That way I made a short link. That way you can go right to the page. Just go.dadvicetv.com/food. It'll take you right there. And don't forget, if you guys are going to buy anything, the coupon code DADVICE gets you $10 off. That is not an affiliate. I don't get a kickback or anything like that. It gives you guys a rebate and helps them track how effective it is to come on here and talk about their products. And I
Yeah.
did want to add one more thing. If you guys buy products like this and you like them, of course, we want to support the companies that are supporting the kidney community, but do mention it to your doctor. They may not be aware of this, and then they can let other people know. My renal dietitian has been a fountain of information for me of different products. She got me hooked up with my renal multivitamins, recommended my renal probiotic, which also my doctor had recommended because they know other people who have been on them. And they've also helped me with snacks because they've heard from other kidney patients, hey, here's what I use. Is it okay? And they're, oh, yeah, that is. They make a note of it. So when people like me are in there saying, hey, doc, give me some more stuff. I need more items to add to my list. She can reach into there and give it to me.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the best way, word of mouth is the best way to spread the word about anything. I mean, I certainly don't know every doctor, and so share it with your community, your doctors. It's the best way to get the
Oh,
word out.
Benjamin says he went to the website and it's sold out.
Oh my gosh, that's I will look into that because that's news to me, Benjamin. I will look at that. Sometimes our website team doesn't update me right away, but it should be here any day because we don't usually have out of stock for very long.
Yeah. And then Natalie asked, how would you compare this to like Bisquick? Is it similar to it, just kidney friendly?
Yeah, well, so this is not specifically for pancakes. It works for pancakes, but it's just a general flour for a variety of different foods. The Bisquick is specifically for pancakes, and I believe all the ingredients that we had you mix, like the dry ingredients at least, are already added in there. So I'm not totally sure on the nutritional profile of Bisquick, but I believe the sugar is already added. I
Yeah,
could
well,
be
they could
wrong.
at least take a look on the label and see.
Yeah,
But
you
for
could
your
definitely look at the
kidneys,
label.
low protein, low sodium, low phosphorus, low potassium, those are things that at least for or for all kidney patients, it's okay to have low in your meal because if you need more potassium like me, I would just slice up some banana and add it. And we're all a little bit different. I'm one of those odd kidney patients that everything goes high except potassium. My potassium is very low. I eat a higher potassium diet and I take 2 pills a day to help me hold on to the potassium that I do eat so that it doesn't get critically low again and send me back to the hospital on IVs full of potassium. Because any of you guys out there that have ever had to get potassium through an IV, it burns. It is not a good feeling. I don't ever want to get that again. It's not as bad as a kidney stone. Kidney stones are far worse, but whoo, I don't need anything with any pain. All right, let's see if there's any other questions. But this is a fantastic breakfast. I love it. Maybe one weekend I will do this, and I'll do it with the kids. And I'm not going to tell them that I'm using this, and I'm going to see if they can tell. They're not going to be able to. We use real maple syrup, and we put strawberries and blueberries and all that on there. When I do that, the kids will be thrilled. They'll love it. They won't be able to tell that it's healthier for them than the regular mix.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Looking up here. Could you use an all-purpose flour until Flavis is back in stock? So what would be the difference if I used an all-purpose flour?
Well, so wheat flour generally just has more protein. So I will say, there's definitely, I'm sure there's alternative flours that have lower proteins amounts. The most pure flour should not have added sodium, potassium, or phosphorus, right? It shouldn't have any of that in it. So it's really just looking at the protein content of what you're buying. Um, a lot of times gluten-free flours are a little lower in protein just because gluten is a protein, and when you take out gluten, you're usually using a lower protein alternative. So I would check the gluten-free flours first.
Yep. Awesome.
Hmm.
Let's see. Natalie's talking about, biscuit you can use to make bread, biscuits, pancakes, etc.
Yeah, yeah.
And my
I would just
mom,
say check the sugar content on that because I believe they add the sugar.
I am not a baker or cooking person. This is all new to me. My mom says cake flour. I'm guessing that's another kind of flour.
Well, yeah, so cake flour is just another type of wheat flour. But I think your mom is actually right because the different types of flours that are made from wheat all have different protein and fat contents. That's the difference. So cake flour, I'm pretty sure, is lower in protein. That's a good point.
Oh, very good. Yeah, she's stage 3 kidney
Okay.
disease as well as diabetic. And she loves to cook and makes all sorts of great stuff. Well,
Yeah,
I miss our old days of the family get-togethers and the big meals.
I know. Soon.
Yes,
Hopefully
soon. Looking
soon.
forward to that, and family reunions.
Hmm.
We talked earlier how I love to sing and I'm really bad. My family reunions are all singing. They're bringing out the guitars, the ukuleles. If we're at someone's house, there's a piano, and we're just singing like Peter, Paul, and Mary and all sorts of other great music and just having a great time. Now, here's one. It says,
Sounds so fun.
can I do away with egg yolk and use egg whites only? Well, that's a good question.
It's a good question. So I've never tried that with this specifically, but my thought would be that it's only one egg yolk. So you could
Mhm.
probably get away with that. You're just gonna have to play with it a little bit. Um, a lot of people like to use the flax egg as well, which I don't know. Basically if you soak flax seeds in water, you can look it up online. Um, that gives you the same textural property that a normal egg would.
Oh, I did not
So
know that.
it's like a lot of vegans use it in their recipes. So I would look up the
Ah.
flax egg, and if you don't want to use the egg yolk at all, I would take a look at how to make a flax egg and then put it in, and then you get the fiber too. So
Oh, very good.
yeah.
And then Tim, he asked me a question. Tim, I'm not ignoring you. I'm actually compiling a list. Tim was like, James, what camera and computer do you use? Just to let you know real quick, Tim. First of all, I'm a tech nerd. I love technology. And my credit card companies love me because of that. Of course, it means you're spending a lot of money. I have the latest iMac 27-inch with the highest processor they have, 128 gigs of RAM. You don't need that much. I use a Canon DSLR. It's an M50 camera. I love going out and taking pictures with the kids and stuff like that, and it happens to work as a video camera also. With a Sigma lens, it's I think it's a 1.2 lens, which means I can blur the background anytime I want in real photos. I have lots of lights on the sides, bouncing on the roof. That is a green screen behind me. Actually, let me turn it off. Let's see. I think this turns it off. Yeah, you can see it's a green screen that goes all the
Oh
way up
wow.
to the ceiling. It's a gigantic green screen because my kids love to also stream and they play video games. And then I use my Schär SM7B as my main microphone. This is what all the radio stations use. It's extremely expensive. You don't need one this expensive, but it holds its value. It is worth it. And it runs into a Rodecaster Pro mixer board that adjusts my voice and lowers it because my voice is very nasal. And I hate that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then there's a whole bunch
so
of other little,
interesting.
other equipment. And I use software called Ecamm, which runs on the Mac. I don't use like StreamYard or anything like that because I want to do everything I can in 4K locally. And then I stream out. I think YouTube is 1080p and Facebook is 720p. I use a third-party service called Restream that this stream actually goes to, and then they send it out to where it goes. So there you go, Tim. I kind of nerded out a little bit. That's a quick rundown of what all I use on here. But I'm an Apple person through and through. Apple is great for being creative and simple. I turn it on. It's reliable 100%. So I don't have to worry about, needing to reboot or any little issues like I do on my work computer, which runs Windows. So, not related to food, but there you go, Tim. A quick little rundown of some of the tech here.
It's helpful to know you've got a whole studio in there.
Oh yeah, well, and I did mention I also have an external display above the camera. I think it's like a 9-inch 4K display up there, which shows me what the camera is recording. And I have I think it's a 42-inch computer monitor, not a TV, over here to the side with all the comments and everything and all the music that I can click to see when I'm doing work. That's where Netflix runs. Right now I'm watching The Crown, loving it. I'm just starting season 2.
You wait. It gets even better.
I love history. I wish I could have started The Crown with my daughter, my 9-year-old daughter. She would have loved it. Her and I did watch every episode of Little House on the Prairie this year in 2020. That was our thing. And that was, it was helpful for her, a little bit of history, and though it's, not exactly a historical thing, but I think she would have loved The Crown too, seeing the Queen and all that stuff.
Yeah, I love The Crown. One of my favorites.
Saying, you should put yourself in a roller coaster on your green screen.
Yeah, I would be playing around with those all the time.
Oh yeah,
different backgrounds every time.
So let me tell you that for work, let me see, do I have it here? Hold on. Let me show you guys. You guys are going to love this one. Let me see if it's here. I'm looking. Darn it. It's not here on this computer. It's on my other computer. So when I do training for work a lot. So there's a lot of remote training and it's automotive. So it's kind of technical and boring, not exciting. And I have a background with 30 cats. It's a living room. They're all over the place. It's video that loops. And I love putting that on. It gets people's attention. They're like, holy cow.
I love it. There's so much work that goes into these things.
Yeah, Tim's like me. He said, I'm spending my paycheck like you. Oh, boy. Let me tell you, it's so great buying the stuff and getting the stuff. But when you get the bill, especially if your wife opens the bill first, then it's not good. He's like, it's an investment.
You just need to use it. You need to use it every day like you do.
Exactly. Oh, and Joyce asked me, we've kind of turned this into a different topic real quick. Joyce says, James, what do you do for a living? So I work in automotive. I do marketing and training. So I help the manufacturers. If if they're going to launch a new vehicle, I'll come up with ideas. I understand consumers, how to influence them. Say, hey, here's how we're going to get them to buy this car. Here's the kind of people we need to do. Doing commercials and stuff like that, the ads. I do training for the software that the dealerships use. When you go in there and you check in and they're typing on that computer for your service, or you're buying a car and they're typing everything in to do all your registration and stuff, the company I work for, we make that software and I help with all that stuff. So I've also done video production back in the day. Car videos. I used to be the executive producer for Car TV. And in some of the old videos, which are still on the internet, you might see me driving the car. If it had to do like a 360 or a 180, I was in the car doing those things.
Wow. So interesting. So that's how you got your start in video production.
Oh, so as a little kid, my parents got me an old Bell and Howell camera, and it wasn't old back then. And we lived in Germany, and I remember, recording stuff and then going and getting the film developed because this was the real film on the
Mm-hmm.
reels. Then I had the projector and playing it, and then you're splicing it. And I was like, I'm gonna be the next Steven Spielberg. So, so I
I
spend
mean,
money like I'm gonna be Steven Spielberg, thinking the equipment will compensate for lack of skill.
well, you have your own TV. I mean, you have a show. So,
Yeah, I have
yeah.
a show, and every show I'm becoming better and better at doing it, figuring things out, and making it all work easier and faster and smoother on my end.
Yeah.
Now, we did have one question related to the recipe or cooking
Mm-hmm.
here. 1/3 cup of Bisquick has, whoa, 380
Oh, wow.
milligrams of sodium for 1/3 of a cup. That is a lot of
That's a
sodium,
lot.
guys. Especially if you're in like a 12 or 1500 milligram for 1/3 of a cup.
Yeah, I will say, a plain flour is going to be better because that shouldn't have anything added. Bisquick is a mix, so you always have to be careful with a mix.
Joey says, "Oh my gosh, I remember Car TV. Yes, that was me." I always have these ideas, and I somehow can talk my bosses or the executives into investing in them. Uh, Car TV is expensive. We bought all sorts of stuff and did all sorts of weird stunts. We were like the Top Gear for poor people. If you don't have the money to buy a Bugatti Veyron, hey, wait to see what we do with the Civic Si.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Let's see. I thought I saw.
I saw a question about oatmeal.
Yes,
Someone's
there we
asking if they
go.
can eat oatmeal. So I think oatmeal is a great option for a nice
Hmm.
healthy breakfast. I personally eat oatmeal like every day. It's one of my favorite foods. I eat it cold and hot. Um, I I love it. It's really high in fiber. So when we were talking before about, you want to consume high fiber foods to pull, they call them uremic toxins when your kidneys aren't working as well. You can't detox as well. So they pull those out. They pull out your excess phosphorus and potassium. So important. And also, it's good for your gut and have a healthy gut. And you want to make sure your bowel movements are regular, anyways, for a normal person. So, yeah, oatmeal's great. It's good, especially a lot of times people, if they're not necessary, if they're making a lot of dietary changes, a lot of people experience constipation,
Hmm.
and oatmeal can help soften your stool to help relieve your constipation. So,
Yeah, and for a short period of time, well, probably about 6 to 7 months, my doctors actually had me on a very high fiber diet
hmm
during the worst part of my kidney disease. And I think that helped me
hmm
in figuring out my diet because I don't want to say that fiber undoes bad choices, but it makes some of them not as bad.
yeah.
So it was easier during that adjustment period while I was on the high fiber diet, but they slowly ramped me up and then they
Yeah.
ramped me back down. It wasn't a
Important that they
tomorrow
slowly do that.
go
Yeah,
high. It
yes.
wasn't like
No,
that.
because that can be painful. I mean, think about it. You're putting a lot in there at once. You got to titrate up and make sure you're drinking a lot of fluids when
Mhm.
you're consuming a higher amount of fiber. I will say the recommendation is 30 grams for Americans. Um, that's the minimum that we should all be getting. The average American only gets like 18 grams. So we have a lot of work to do.
Yes. And it seems like so much of our food is fortified with protein. When you go to the store, you see protein, 26 grams of protein, 18 grams of protein.
hmm
The I think many people, because it's promoted so much, have this misconception that more protein is better. I wish they would do that with fiber. It's hard to find low protein, high fiber foods. Of course, you can go with apples and all the natural things, but if I wanted like a quick snack, something that's made like a healthy-ish bar, those are the
hmm
things I look for. That's difficult.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. So I think, you know, anytime you can have a whole food. So what I mean by whole food, something that's a fruit, a vegetable, your nuts. A whole food is something that's unprocessed. That's always your best bet. But of course, it can be hard when you're on the go. So
Yep. All right.
yeah.
Well, we're nearing the top of the hour, and we covered a lot today. So we went over the recipe of using the Flavis flour mix, the bread mix, which there's a recipe on the back, guys, for how to make bread. A lot of people are always saying, "Hey, what kind of bread do you eat, James?" I don't eat very much bread. I try to be as low carb as possible. And in my mind, I've convinced myself that bread is evil. I love bread. And we were talking earlier how I eat bread, which is not good.
Bread is good, but there's you gotta be careful with how much you're having. So that's.
Yeah, there was a time when I loved, especially being here in Ohio, go get some fresh butter, salted butter, like fresh. It was in a cow not that long ago. Got my butter, 'cause you can buy it here at the farmer's market, fresh butter. And I could sit down and watch Netflix and have like breadsticks or something or crackers. And I'm using that butter like a dip. Oh, it was delicious. So
Yeah, I'm happy that you kind of know what your trigger is there. You
yeah,
just gonna
I have to
yeah,
keep away from it. I
yeah.
do miss that. And it is definitely not good for my heart. I, I can eat a lot of butter.
Yeah, yeah, portion control is very important. Yeah, but I will say, I like to say, nothing is a never food. So you can always have, if you were really craving a bread and butter, like you can always give yourself that chance. I think it's really important to never say I can never have something because that leads to a lot of, it just that makes you crave it more. There's a
Yeah.
lot of studies that show that psychologically that's really it's really makes your brain it turns on your brain where like it's all you crave. And so I think, keeping in mind, listen to your body, but you can indulge occasionally. Just, keep it special treat.
Joyce loves bread also warm.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, sourdough. I love sourdough. It's good for your gut. Love that.
yep. Moderation. There we go. There's the key.
Mhm.
Moderation. Portion
Yeah.
control.
Mhm.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Megan. And if you guys are interested in the Flavous products, there's a link right here. I'll take you directly to it. Um, go.dadvicetv.com/food. There's a coupon code Dadvice that will get you $10 off any order. There's no minimum purchase. So that takes care of your shipping. Go ahead, purchase some things, give them a try. There's lots of great recipes on the Flavous website, and we're going to be putting more of them here going forward just to show you the variety. Because, for example, this is, you guys label this as bread mix. There's a recipe on here for how to make bread, but there's other things that you can use this for. And a lot of the different pastas and other products are just like that.
Yeah, and I
Um,
just want to say if you guys have recipe suggestions or things you would like us to try, please comment on James's page and I'm happy to get my culinary team together and work on it. I think we want to hear what you guys want to make. So,
Game on. Yes,
yeah.
that's it. See, look at that, guys. Not only is this company making products that are kidney friendly, they're willing to take our ideas and see what they can do. So if there's anything you guys are missing or you're looking for, this is a great place to let them know.
Mhm.
Now, Joyce asked how many pancakes does that recipe make?
So
I know the
it's two
size is going to matter because
yeah, it's
how big you
it
make those.
so it's two servings. And so I think that we didn't put a pancake number on it because everybody makes their pancakes a different size. So think about, in that recipe, whatever it is should feed about two people.
Yeah, very good. Two people who eat what they're supposed to eat.
Yes. But I will say
Go
the
heavy on the
nutrition,
toppings of blueberries
yes,
and apples.
heavy
There
on the
you go.
toppings. And the other thing is, the nutrition facts are on the website. So if you feel like, the portion size is a little small, do a little calculation and see what if you can have a little more, what that'll do from the nutrition facts perspective.
Yep. And if you eat a little bit more, you go online, stream Richard Simmons sweating to the oldies. Do your 30-minute exercise, burn off some of those calories, and feel great.
Exactly.
Now, Anna said thank you for the show. Is Flavous available in Canada?
So, Anna, we are working on that. Not currently, but that's definitely something that we're trying to do. So, stay tuned.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody out there. If you haven't done so, hop on over to YouTube and click the subscribe button and become a member of the Dadvice TV community here on YouTube. And that way, when I schedule upcoming videos or I upload something, you'll get a notification. That way you can hop on here and learn all sorts of great information. I want to thank everyone for your time today. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys all next week. We've got lots of videos coming up, even though it's Christmas week. I'll be right here with more information helping you kick kidney disease to the curb. Thanks, everyone. See you next week. Thanks,
Bye.
Megan. Bye.